Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 59, and today on the episode, it's going to be mostly, if not all, sports centered. We're going to talk about the NFL Week 2. We're going to start off with that. A little quick college talk on the Pac 12 starting up. UFC 253, I believe that's the number, is when you're listening to this evening. Mostly John will give his thoughts on that, and then we're going to end with some wrestling talk. Surprise, surprise on that. But first, like I said, NFL Week 2, we had obviously happened last week, and some crazy games. Right off the top of the bat, that stands out to me is the Atlanta Falcons can't hold a big lead.
That that is one of the most catastrophic choke jobs, probably since then, in the Super Bowl, against the Patriots, and I just cannot believe what was actually happening. And this was basically right after with the Steeler game, and suffering through a very painful watch there, and just seeing the Falcons just slowly choke this game away. That onside kick, I literally have no idea what the Falcons were doing there. And someone, I think on commentary, said it was basically they were making a comparison to when, in baseball, when someone is just hoping that a ball that a ball goes on foul, because on onside kicks they have to travel 10 yards, in order for the kicking team to actually recover it.
But it obviously clearly went 10 yards. If you don't know
Yes.
what 10 yards is,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah. I'm just
hoping
like,
for the other guy to do something about it. And
right.
everybody stood around because I didn't see it. I didn't see the game live. Or like as it was happening, whatever. I was just hearing about it, and I saw the replay of that onside kick. I'm like, how does nobody like just get on that ball immediately?
I mean, like, hell, like that's like basic special teams stuff there, man. Like, I mean, and I guarantee you, because of that, every other NFL team is probably practicing that more. It is like, hey guys, when we're on the freaking hands team, go after the ball. Do not wait and hope that it doesn't reach 10 yards or goes out of bounds. Just freaking
So
dive on it, because if they dive on that, the game is over. Like, that's it.
yes,
And but of course, because they are the Falcons, Dak, he put on a nice drive, and Greg Zuerlein kicks the eventual game winning field goal, was which the Cowboys had zero business in winning there. So
no,
yeah,
no. When I first looked at the score early on, it was like
it was a blowout. It was a
29. I don't know. It was a blowout. It was like,
it,
oh my god, the
it,
Cowboys are.
it was a blowout. Like, I mean, like, I'm like, oh, this game's over, because I think they were up by, I want to say, like 15 points with like
It, it,
about 5 minutes left or
I don't know.
something.
It was 20-0 after the first quarter.
Right. And so
29-10 at 29-10 at halftime. Now I saw, okay, they scored, okay, Cowboys scored, but you know what? No, nobody. There's
exactly,
never a shutout. Okay, they came back.
especially for how horrible their defense was playing all game on top of that.
Then the third quarter, Cowboys scored. I'm just looking at the box score, 14 points. So it's now 29-24, and it's close. I'm thinking, oh, they're coming back, and then I believe the Falcons went up, 39-20, something like that. They broke away. They made it. They made the gap. I don't have the actual like play-by-play at least right now, but they got the lead. Expanding the lead a little bit. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I just see on Twitter, it's just stuff just blowing up, and like, oh
Memes
no, they didn't.
everywhere because it was deja vu all over again. I mean, I feel for you Falcons fans, because this was just had to been just a reoccurring nightmare from the Super Bowl, and this is exactly what happened. Just I mean, it was a choke job. There's nothing else.
Vietnam flashbacks.
Mm-hmm. For
Like,
that,
if you look at just Matt Ryan's stats in a bubble,
he's great. He's great for my
24 to 36, 273, 4 touchdowns. Again, like you were saying,
He's killing it. He's killing it for my
oh yeah,
for my fantasy team. I could tell, I could tell you that much.
yeah. You would look at that and be like, holy crap, that's 4 touchdowns.
Pretty damn
That's
good.
20. That's 28 points with extra points at minimum,
Mm-hmm.
at best. So you're like, okay, if you're scoring 28 points, you have a decent shot. You've even compared Dak Prescott just on passing. Impressive yards, 34 for 47 for 450, but 1 touchdown. Not bad. But then you go in the rushing there. He had, 5 carries for 18 yards for 3 touchdowns. So he had 3 rushing touchdowns with 1 passing. He got 4. Okay, you think this is a close, competitive, back and forth game.
Right.
Add Zico in there with 1 touchdown, so there's 5 there. And no. It's just terrible. Blowout. Dallas, if you're watching this game early on, you probably turned it off or switched, found another game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's a blowout. And I don't, that to start 0-2 for Atlanta. I mean, you're not out by any stretch of the imagination, but that's one of those games when you come down at the end, you're going to look back and just bash your head against a wall and be like, especially if it comes down to like one game,
which they typically
division or a playoff or what have you. And you just look back and circle that game on the calendar if you're both a Cowboys and Falcons fan, because that one game could mean a lot at the home stretch.
I tell you, a game I was pretty surprised by too was how close that the Kansas City Chiefs and the
Yes.
LA Chargers were. And man, Justin Herbert, he was impressive. And I was saying, well, first of all, he should have been the starting quarterback from the get-go, because I just felt like he just obviously first round guy and obviously way more talented, but he was thrusted into the starting role because apparently when the team doctor was trying to give a like cortisone or a painkiller shot into Tyrod Taylor, they actually accidentally punctured his freaking lung. Which something similar happened to, I believe, happened.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, which something similar happened to the Steelers. Jerome Bettis. I think this was back in like 03 or 04 ish, where basically he had a pinched nerve because of that. So it's not completely unprecedented, but man, like just a crazy thing because everyone was under the assumption that it was going to start. I'm not even sure if he was even on the injury report all week, and just right before kickoff, like, oh, Justin Herbert is starting, and supposedly Herbert, he didn't find out until like about 30 seconds before the game that he was going to actually start. So that was pretty crazy. But man, I really think that's a game that Kansas City should have lost. Just the Chargers just completely wasted a golden opportunity because man, if you go 2-0 and have even a game up on the Kansas City, that's pretty big.
They.
Uh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, and just seeing just how badly that all game outside of the fourth quarter in overtime that like Patrick that
He,
that Patrick
he's
Mahomes was
he's money
struggling.
late. Let me look at the
It,
Super Bowl.
man, like it just you cannot give him any more opportunities than he already has, and
Because yeah, the Chargers are up. Let me see. Quick math here for these 17 to 9 after 3,
right.
and it's like to me that's amazing that the Chargers got made it that long with the lead,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kansas City scores 11 fourth quarter points to LA's 3, and there's the difference. Fourth quarter Mahomes,
Absolutely.
in because I mean Chargers here out total yards edged by like 60 yards, 479 to 414. Outpassed the Kansas City Chiefs just slightly, 296, 189, or 289, excuse me. Outrushed them, more yards per play, more first downs, more total plays. I think the efficiency, third down efficiency, is pretty close. Like more penalty yards for Kansas City, 90. 11 penalties for 90 yards compared to the 6 and 40 for the Chargers. Chargers held time possession 39 minutes and 27 seconds compared to 28-38. Like all these big things, just like you look at it and you're like, oh my god. Again, if you look in the bubble, you're like, oh, the Chargers probably the best chance to win, and close, but they won. But no, it's again that Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter, and it's and we could touch on this real quick. It's like it almost like the Steelers. Everybody has the Chiefs in this high regard of just being a dominant thing. Steelers to some degree, but not as good as the Chiefs, obviously. But one of those games in the second week, even though you could say Broncos are probably a lesser team than the Chargers, but both of the better teams, both of the other
injuries across the board on top of that.
Oh yeah, and just and both of the better teams just struggling a bit in the second week. Being out.
It was definitely concerning to me just how badly that the Steelers struggled, especially for how many injuries that the Denver Broncos had. But at the same time, too, it's like, hey, it's only week 2, zero camp. If we're being completely honest, no
preseason,
no preseason, no off season essentially, and you're having your franchise quarterback coming back for the first time in a full calendar year. It's going to take a few weeks for some teams to finally find themselves, and that's kind of where I think that the Steelers are, and they've been slow starters for a very long time. It's normally when October hits is when they start to find their stride, and I definitely feel like they will get there. And there's definitely something, especially on like defense, a lot of blown coverages, turnovers, and most important, there was too many penalties, which almost cost them the game. And thankfully, just because of them, Denver just being awful and just having so many injuries, that it didn't come back to actually bite them. But but a win is a win, as they say. But definitely a lot of stuff to clean up. And Tomlin really really made that clear, with how many penalties were committed, turning it over. Benny Snell fumbling for the second straight week. That's something I'm a little bit concerned with, because he had a similar issue last year as well. So it doesn't seem like that part of his game has been clean cleaned up. But on the flip side, though, as far as sacks are concerned, those are still up for the Steelers. I think they are second in the NFL as far
Yeah, I think I heard that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
as far as sacks are concerned. I'm pretty sure they are either like one or two as far as total pressures, and I think they have like four of the top 10 sack leaders right now in the league. So they're getting after consistent or getting after the quarterback. And I do like what I'm seeing in certain flashes with a Deontay Johnson, who is still like he needs to find some consistency. But I mean, you just see why they um why his teammates and the coaching staff just constantly rave uh, about his talent. It sucks that that he had that punt return callback,
Oh yeah.
which was just an electric. But on the following play, Chase Claypool just had just a beautiful touchdown there. That kid can freaking fly. So definitely some things I'm very optimistic about, but at the same time, definitely some things they need to clean up as well. As far as the rest of the league is concerned, Houston is just they're having issues. Baltimore just pretty much just gave them a really tough time, just ran the ball down their freaking throats. I'm really am not sold on Cleveland. They had to score over 30 points to beat a very bad Cincinnati team, which that offensive line, as we said on the podcast, from last week, is just awful. Um, I'm trying to think of any other games that have. Oh yeah, Matt. Poor San Francisco 49ers in their injury report is just it's pretty insane just how many injuries, how many season-ending injuries that they have had.
Yeah, you just go through Twitter in your games. You just say, "Oh, this is this injured, injured, injured. Oh, we have another injury." Like so
Saquon
many
Barkley,
injuries through week. 49ers specifically, obviously, but
49.
yeah, all
It just
all through the NFL.
I have not seen so many damn ACL tears ever in this short span of time. Like you have guys like Saquon Barkley, Nick Bosa, Cameron Sutton towards ACL. It just like it was one thing after another, and then you saw I think it was Christian 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 McCaffrey has a high ankle sprain. I think he's out for at least some 6 weeks. So it's just like just one guy after another. But that's the NFL, unfortunately. And unfortunately, since there was such a shortened off season, and with a very shortened camp, I think you had to expect a lot more injuries were going to happen. We're seeing a lot more hamstring injuries too, but definitely those ACLs, they were just popping left and right. And I just felt so bad for so many of these guys. So that was really unfortunate. But Arizona, to me, Matt, is a potential Super Bowl contender by the way things are going. Kyler has just been uh, amazing. A possible early season MVP candidate. I feel as we go into week 3, and obviously Hopkins has been amazing as well. So yeah, a very a very a very fun week, which capped off which a massive upset with the Las Vegas Raiders beating the New Orleans Saints. And by the way, that stadium is beautiful. It's
Oh
nicknamed
yes.
it's nicknamed the freaking Death Star, which is awesome. Um, but I'm and I texted you this. I was like, hey man, we when eventually a like mania happens, we are definitely going
Yes.
because
That's
I need to experience that at least one time because that thing looks awesome. Like just like I was just stunned. Just it just kind of sucks that they didn't have any fans there because man, that would have been just some type of atmosphere there. To say
oh yeah.
the least, and for how much that they had they paid for that thing, that had better have been impressive because I wanted to say that thing cost over $2 billion or so to
Something like that. A
so
lot of money.
a lot of cash there. So yeah, man. I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about as far as NFL. Were there any other stories or happenings
Um,
that
no, not really. Out of week,
yeah, yeah. So
out of
yeah,
that week.
yep. So a very fun week two, and now we're going to slowly transition into some UFC talk. As for tonight, when this podcast drops, is UFC 253, which is headlined by Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa for the UFC middleweight title. This between this and the co-main event, I'm just going. I'm going to be talking about two excellent fights, two fights I am very excited about. To me, I think this is Izzy's fight here. While both guys are currently are undefeated, I just feel like that with Izzy's style, it's more prone to cause issues for Costa. Just 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 with his counter striking, how he's able to constantly move in and out. Whereas with Acosta, I feel like it's a very limited striking game. Although he hits like a freaking truck, but I just feel like it's going to be hard for him over the case over the course of 5 rounds, and I just cannot see him finishing Izzy with in the first few rounds. So definitely his cardio is going to to be tested, and I do think he's that Izzy is going to consistently frustrate is going to consistently frustrate Acosta too. So I'm going with Izzy there, and I believe he's only a very slight favorite, which I think the last time I checked he was only a like minus 190 or
Yeah,
something,
one.
Matt.
Well, on DraftKings, 186.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically that. And as far as as for for the co-main, which is for the vacant light heavyweight title, be between Dominic Reyes versus Jan. It's going to be a very interesting fight. I got Dominic Reyes here. I just feel like with his striking and everything else going on there, this is definitely his fight to lose. But it should be a very fun card. But it's also a card which outside of those two fights, I don't really know too many the fighters here. So it's like we'll see
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens here. You know. So.
Right.
Mhm.
Um. Ooh, whoopsie daisy. Um. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you that I mean, again, as someone who's not as I'm gonna say invested or know the people as well in the UFC, the only two fights I know fighters I know of are in the co-main events.
Hell, like
The favorites
like
there.
for me too. And hell, I'm like balls deep into into MMA, and like there's there's just not a lot of like noticeable names that you'll know here. I mean, outside of looking at Eubanks on the main card, outside of the two title fights, just yeah. so so yeah, but we'll see how the rest of the card shakes out. But
However,
I am expecting two very fun title fights here though.
yeah. I hope hopefully the rest of the card works out too. You know, even though we might not know the people, hopefully there's some just good surprising fights.
Which in so many cases we have seen that
Yep.
where the card wasn't as stacked, and it turns out to be just a fantastic night of
Yeah.
fights. So hopefully that is also is the case here too.
Absolutely. Uh, John, do you want to get into some wrestling talk?
Yeah, you said before we start recording, I have a hot take for you that it might surprise you.
I,
So
it surprised you in particularly, but maybe not uh, people in general.
I'm all
Um,
ears.
I found a group that I that is worse than the Dark Order.
My man has seen the light. He's now a mark for the Dark Order.
Wait a minute.
He's now a mark for
Don't
the Dark Order.
stop putting words in my
I
mouth.
I I
I
am
never
so
said
proud of.
no. Wait, whoa. I never said the Dark Order was great.
But man,
There's level of blah,
there is
and
levels
then
of like suck. There is
there's like
levels of suck.
there's levels of suck. Yes, I thought Dark Order was on the bottom of the suck. No.
But and I'll even say this about them, like and more specifically, uh, Holly Brody. He's been a lot more serious and has completely cut out all of the freaking like Vince isms. But man, I wasn't even seeing Raw. I was like just like no, I'm just gonna stick and watch and watch something like football, and then I'm just seeing all my timeline of what is going on, and so I text you, what the fuck is going on, and you were just like horror. It
Yes,
was,
I couldn't me. I couldn't defend it.
and I was talking with our friend Eric, and I was like, dude, you know something really sucks when even like Matt is bearing it.
because because there's because like okay,
Like,
first off, okay,
where do we
there's
start at? Where do we
oh, hang on, I'll somehow
start
figure it out. Um, there's I don't know. Every week there's little things that they do overall that are good, but the one step back, hit by a car in the other direction.
There's
So
just
first off,
yeah,
they
they freaking sign contracts.
yes,
They
now it's
sign
all they sign contracts. Okay, first off, you have these group of for PC recruits. I think they announced before, tearing up the place. They freaking had a chainsaw and destroyed the ring, or at least the ropes.
And they're
Um,
only attacking on like Monday Night Raw.
they're
They're
only
only on.
taking on Raw now. Um, and I don't know. And they're destroying this. So now they have contracts. Strike one.
Oh
And
wait,
now
and
they
by the way,
say
when they like somewhat revealed these people were supposed to act like that we have never have seen guys like Dijak and like a Mia Yim, like who you can clearly tell that is who these people are who had already previously signed contracts. So it's just like there's so many plot holes in so many different directions here. But yeah,
and then they
go ahead.
say they can do whatever they want now, as opposed to what they were doing before, destroying stuff.
And the better question is, why would the company agree to that? It's like, hey guys,
You you see they there's
none of
if
this
they
makes
would have if they would have done something, even did a shoot of them like holding whoever hostage
right.
at
Or
saying we need to sign, you better sign us, and then like they brutally force them into coming up with
or
contracts.
or having a like Shane kind of go under like Vince's watch and secretly sign them just to tear shit up, which which that would okay, I can buy that, but just like
It's a better explanation than
it's a
what
way
happened.
better it's a way better explanation. And and then we get to the reveal of their names.
So they're okay. Okay, before we get to that, let me touch on one thing.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
their look overall, I like the look.
The only problem is um Dark Knight
My name is Bane. That's my
Dark Knight
terrible Bane.
Rises happened over 8 years ago. So it's just like how like what is this company's what's this company's fascination with freaking Bane, because they did something similar, if you recall, with like Ambrose before he left, and that was a complete disaster. And
Yes, I forgot about that.
and
I
this
don't even know what that sounds like.
yeah, and this was somehow
That's Bane.
yeah, and somehow this became 10 times worse. And
But overall, okay, mine is the Bane. I like it, but then we get their freaking holy crap names.
oh, and by the way, did you see Mia's name now?
Yeah, I
I
read
texted you.
earlier in the day before you text me that they trademark. So Mia's name is what is it? Not retribution or
Reckoning, reckoning. So we got
she is a
Slapjack.
noun. They're all nouns.
So
We
we
got
got
pancakes, T-bone steak.
so we got Slapjack, T-Bar, of reckoning, and who was the other third name that I'm forgetting? T-Bar, Slapjack,
T-bone, slapjack, and Mace. Mace.
Mace.
Out of all of them, Mace is the okay one.
Oh, and supposedly
I tolerate Mace.
and
That's not
supposedly
bad.
and
What the
supposedly
hell is T-bone or T-jack or T-bone, whatever?
yeah, and supposedly WrestleVotes tweeted out yesterday that supposedly one of the names that was suggested, but it was shot down, was Shatter. Shatter.
I you know what? I rather have Shatter
I mean,
than
it's
than
definitely.
Slapjack. What the hell is a Slapjack?
I just like, I'm like it's so bad, man, that you're even hearing from guys over at Fightful and Dave and like one who basically saying, yeah, basically everyone backstage is bearing this thing. They are saying like this is going to be impossible for these guys to and girls to
No.
come back from. Like you're single handedly are killing 5 careers with this god awful faction that makes no sense. Terrible names. It just um, and just how they are booking this. I'm like, you're not doing these guys and girls any favors here. And man, like they have so many talented people in this faction, and if they would have actually presented it right and not treat it like a
They
complete freaking comedy act, which it basically is at this point because everyone is treating it like a comedy act. I will be shocked if this thing is still alive by going into 2021. Like this is just beyond. I feel like
every
this is the worst faction I have possibly have ever seen in. And I freaking lived through the horrible aces and freaking eights angle, but at least they had like Holy Ray in that there and the Dungeon of Doom, which some are are regarded as the worst faction ever. It's definitely up there, but man, it's just
I
the
don't know.
just the clown show with this. Like, I mean, if anything, it brought me a great entertainment. Just seeing just how awful that this is, but man,
It's like they had for each week they had multiple things directions they can go plots, and it's like they saw the best one, the okay one, and the worst one, and went, I think we can make the worst one work. It's like every possible thing they could have done, they went the complete
like
opposite with. And it
and
blows my mind that I'm starting to think there's no way, even though there's yes way, that somebody,
and
not
there
everybody had to agree on this. There's no way on God's that everybody sat in the room and legitimately went, I like it.
yeah,
There's
I mean,
no way in my heart of hearts that I believe that
a few
100% of the
things,
people that make the decisions agreed.
a few things that definitely became apparent to me, and just kind of have just reconfirmed things too, was just like Vince is completely has lost his damn mind. Doesn't know how to book things long term, whether they are like factions or whatever. It just further confirms that, and like how how no
Slapjack.
one how no one higher up could
Slapjack.
see, hey, by presenting them in this way, how are the fans going to react to this? How are they going to not think that
Slapjack.
this is nothing but a freaking joke? And I mean, it's pretty telling too when the most popular thing that they have done to this point is trolling Brian Alvarez over at the Observer, when he posted um NXT and AEW's viewership from this past week. So it's just like, yeah, that pretty much just describes it all. Just yeah, these guys and girls are just dead in the freaking water. Like and I feel so bad for so many of these people. And two, another thing, Matt, and something else that did not make
Why?
any sense.
Why is Mia's Twitter? I just noticed this from that picture. Why is she phonetically spelling out reckoning next to her?
I don't know,
Rec.
but
What the
yeah.
hell?
Oh yeah, and speaking of her, Matt, so when she was in NXT, they made it really clear she is dating Keith Lee, right?
Yeah, right.
They're still together, right?
They're still together, but I don't know what you're talking about. Mia Yim's not on Raw.
Because
Reckoning is. Me and him
Well,
does not exist. It's reckoning, John. Get it?
yes, so many because apparently Vince and Bruce think we are complete fucking
It's
morons
Vince.
here.
It's Vince. There's Vince.
I'm
It's
just like
100% Vince, and Bruce is.
I'm just like
I
how
feel like I don't know. Like Bruce has mentioned that Vince shut it down, and Bruce is like at this point just like, okay,
fuck right. It's just
just
like
like I'm gonna
so
make I'm gonna sell it to them. I don't agree with it, but I'm gonna make it sound like $1,000,000.
yeah, and
What?
it's just like okay, so we're supposed to believe now that the because I would not have a big
Whoa.
I wouldn't I would not be as mad about if they did not do a whole freaking program with Keith Lee and like Mia against like Johnny and Candice for the longest time,
And
if that would have like never have been presented on TV, kind of similar to with like Alistair and Zelina. I'm like, okay, since they have never presented that on TV, I can somewhat suspend
you,
my disbelief here.
well,
However,
you're saying for Zelina and Alistair, they haven't yet.
yeah, like
Yeah.
they have like
They've
never have
interacted, but nobody
right,
said
right.
anything. We
Whereas,
all know, but
yeah, whereas
if
in Keith
I could
Lee,
even, I would be even more, not more, but slightly more okay with it if Retribution was on SmackDown and not Raw, and they were separate. Like, okay, you can, it's a workaround in a way.
it just
Um,
it
but
just doesn't make any damn sense. And like, and the problem is too bad. They're not trying to make any of it make any sense, which is
no,
the most infuriating part about this
it
whole ordeal
it
here.
gets worse.
It gets worse.
We're here. So they're mad about.
What?
No, they explain what they're mad about, but it
Okay,
doesn't.
okay. What are
So,
they exactly?
like, well, I'm trying to remember, but the thing. Well, I'm gonna get like a Cliff Note version, like the
Well,
the
yeah.
the greed of all the superstars and blah 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 and whatever. I don't know, and contracts, money, and not I don't know, not caring, but okay, talking about people signing contracts and all this fun stuff. Right after you sign a freaking contract, it was announced that you signed a contract
Mm-hmm.
to be in the same boat with the people that you're complaining about
There was
in the
just
contracts.
zero.
So, are you signing a contract and not getting paid?
Right. It just like there was like just zero thought put into any of the
It was
specifics.
like the analogy. You put 100 monkeys in the room and they write Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they put 100 monkeys in a room and they wrote Retribution.
Right. And how and this circles back to us with the Dark Order. It's like, okay, at least they have a central figure in this group who you can actually can take seriously. But now, how are we supposed to take anyone in this group
They
seriously?
need, they, I don't know, they need to go, because, okay, if I'm going to spin this in the positive way here, when Dark Order first came out, first time I saw them, they had those, like, the creepy crawly people.
And it was awful.
It was awful.
It was awful.
Okay, Retribution debuted, awful. If there is a way, somehow copy what the Dark Order did to get to some form of acceptance.
And supposedly too, they are going to be having a like leader of some sort. So kind of like if they can like have someone to actually lead his group who we can take seriously, sort of how as what the Dark Order had with like Brody. Okay, then it won't be as bad. But the initial presentation,
Yes.
just makes you believe that this is going nowhere fast.
Could they save it to the best of their abilities? Yes.
But and the problem I have too, Matt, is like who can possibly lead this group and can possibly save it? I mean, and to me, the only person who I think is capable of that is probably Roman.
I
And
was going to say, well, since Roman's on SmackDown, I don't know.
right,
But I
yeah,
was going to say Joe.
I think as far as on the mic, he can definitely
You can.
he can make it work. Which by the way, I think he currently has some COVID right now.
That's
Apparently,
probably why he's not on. Okay.
yeah.
But okay, so when he comes, so they could do when he comes back, because he never really got attacked.
No.
Um, it could make. I would buy him more of a lead. He has that presentation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can definitely buy him as
I can
a
buy him.
leader. Yeah.
It could work. It can help.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But on the risk there is that you hurt Samoa Joe where you don't want to, and that
Mm-hmm.
screws him up.
Because honestly, anyone associated with this group, I would not want to be in any shouting distance of this group. And yeah,
So I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
and
We'll,
so the needless to say, there's a lot of work that needs
yeah.
to be done with these guys. And
As we tune into SmackDown to see Roman, I turn into Raw to see Retribution, but not in the same way.
and we'll kind of just like briefly preview clash of champions to here while we're still on the WWE topic. So Matt, to me the only match I'm really caring about is obviously Roman versus Jay. That to me has been the most interesting thing that is currently is going on with the company, and probably the second is anything involving Alexa right now. Like and so those are the two things I'm currently am looking at. But anything else on this card, I could just care less
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Reigns and Uso. I McIntyre and Orton ambulance match can be a good fight. Um, so like I mean the two championship matches I think could be good. Um, I even though it's probably another good match, I don't want to see nothing against Nikki Cross. I don't see Bayley Nikki Cross again. Another match that I think could be a show stealer is Hardy, Styles, and Zayn in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be really good. And I mean, all of these matches in pay-per-views since and COVID era have been short, not a lot of matches, and people have gotten time. So I would expect this to have a lot of time. And with these three in here, they probably will do some crazy stuff. So this has my eye on it. So I'm intrigued. This is probably my second match I'm looking forward to the most. Because again, all these live matches with these three are gonna be good. Lashley and Cruz. It just at this point it's pick a member of Hurt Business out of a hat, and that's who Apollo Crews is facing this week. Baszler and Jax versus the Riot Squad for the Tag Team Championship. Gyps, it could be a good match. But out of all of them, I mean, it's
Honestly,
buried
man,
by the rest of the matches that I want to see.
yeah, and
Um,
and to me, like, just too many rematches. Like, how many times do we have to see Street Profits
I was
versus
about to get there. Yeah, and
Garza?
Andrade and Angel. Who was in that triple number one contender match? It was Humberto and Dominic, Andrade Angel, and Seth and um. I would have almost see that whole number one contender match there they did on Raw was okay. First off, they booked themselves a corner there because and it's another thing that makes sense. Raw is confusing, uh, because Andrade and Angel have like basically are finally broken up. They teased this for weeks.
Huh?
It and now they're number one contenders. So I can almost if they better not win, they they're gonna win. I know it. Um,
Yeah.
that they were fighting. Zelina broke away from them to go in singles match and going for the women's championship, which is on the pre-show. Um,
Which, like, by the way, she just, I think, won a single match, and oh, she's the automatic number one contender, against Oscar, which I believe that was actually Zelina's first win that I can recall. I'm like, so we're just giving her a title shot after she has lost how many matches?
I'd rather have given it to
Right,
Mickey James. Give it to Mickey
right,
James first.
exactly. I'm just like,
Um,
and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she tap out? Unlike Mickey James too.
no, there was a whole
Okay,
there
okay,
was a whole
okay.
and last wait, did they give it to was Mickey James and Oscar? Was that no? That was not. Was that non-title? Or was this for the title?
No, that was for the title.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
okay, whatever. No, she didn't. That was a whole cluster that she didn't tap out. Like, there's no way. I don't know what happened there. It was a cluster.
Ref just completely just
Something
pushed it.
happened. And then you have Seth and well, at least they pushed it forward. It was a distinct Seth walking away from Murphy,
Oh,
pushing that,
and
breaking
speaking
away.
and speaking of Seth, and we completely forgot about this. They're really rehashing the whole angle with, like, Ray and Eddie from 2005. I'm like, you mean to
With
tell
the
me
daughter. Okay, at
with a
first I
daughter?
thought okay. First they're doing it with Dominic. I was like, "There's no way," and I said it. Then because that was okay, almost like a tease, and they went. It was like, "Oh no, no, no! I'm talking about um what's the daughter's name? Oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah,
um
okay, yeah, Butler's
whatever.
daughter, and
Uh,
well,
and now
and
and now
her and like Murphy or somehow are having a
because
like love triangle or something.
it's okay. So there was the cage match like 2 weeks ago, and I think Seth, I think attack like beat up Murphy. I don't say attacked or whatever. And when the daughter, I can't believe I can't think of her name. It starts with an A. Um, oh my god. What was going back in the ring to with the family to check on? I think Dominic. Again, I didn't see this live, so I'm going by
Mhm.
what they show me. She kind of like stopped, checked on Murphy real quick. Yeah, felt like empathy, and then went into the ring. It was really quick. It
which
was like she
which
felt
kind of
bad
like which kind of like makes no sense because didn't her and like her whole family just beat the hell out, out of like Murphy
Yeah,
with kendo sticks a few weeks prior, so it's like,
yeah. I'm guess it's. I mean, I don't think it's too out of the route. Like maybe she's okay. He's like not possessed, but like controlled by Seth, and like maybe she sees um that he like not like she feels bad. Maybe she feels bad that like this whole thing's happening. And yes, she did do that. But like I think it's I bet I'm just gonna sound sexist, but I think a woman doing that, feeling more compassion than a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so I'm initially okay, not upset by that. But Seth okay, pulls the maybe it's not the daughter uh, uh, with the that's not your kid, but I'm getting a vibe that he excuse me they're not actually going through with it, that it
No.
was Seth is doing that just to stir the pot. Because I was like, oh god, and then listening to the promo, I'm like, okay, I don't think they're actually going through with that. I think he was just doing that, you know, again, like I said, to stir a pot. But you have then this is when things get like this is the part that makes no sense to me, right? As Ray says that I gotta look up her name. I can't say the daughter. That Ray's daughter is like naive and doesn't know any better. And then she like looks at Ray, gets pissed off and like walks off.
Uh,
So she's
Aaliyah.
upset. Aaliyah, thank you. I knew. Oh my god, the daughter. So Aaliyah is pissed off that Ray said she's naive and doesn't know any better and walked off stage. And then they kind of got a little mini argument backstage. And then after she walks off, she's backstage somewhere by herself, sitting somewhere, and Murphy comes up and like not in like a walks up and it wasn't touching her, but stay like sat next to her real quick and said, "Oh, like a comforting thing, I don't know," and walked away. So they're teasing something between the two. Um,
I can tell you one thing. Vince must have be really committed with a Ray, and must have paid him handsomely because man, his whole family is just everywhere on the
yes.
show now. So, but yeah, so yeah, there was that. And two other wrestling things I want
Oh
to
well,
discuss. Oh,
real quick, and because it's going to be real quick.
mhm,
We also have SmackDown Tag Team Championship: Nakamura and Cesaro versus Lucha
mhm,
House Party, and then on the kickoff, like I mentioned, Asuka versus Vega Raw Women's Championship. With
mhm,
if Asuka doesn't win, it would be
mhm.
the heist of the century and the worst thing. That's a quick thing, and so yeah, I suspect that the show. I think the matches will be solid, but it's going to be like the UFC pay per view. You only really care about two,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
hope the rest of it stacks up.
yeah, for sure. So we had some very unfortunate news at the beginning of the week as well, and that was obviously with the passing of Road Warrior Animal, who was obviously one half uh, uh, of the Road Warriors, or better known as like a Legion of Doom in WWF at the time. And personally, for me, man, it is my favorite tag team ever. Just just the whole presentation with these guys, and just from their characters, with their look, how they worked, how they cut promos, and just the consistent reactions that these guys got, is just something that still stands with the test of time. And it really stuck to, he was only 60 years old. And
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't come out what he actually passed of. I believe with like TMZ came out and said that he supposedly died of like natural causes. I'm like, I don't think someone dies at 60 of natural causes. Like,
It's
if
probably like I think they mean
enlarged
heart
heart,
attack or
yeah,
something, not like
right,
drug or
right.
something like that related.
Well, and two, he spent so many years using steroids when he was wrestling, so that would probably be sort of of like my guess there. But just a really unfortunate thing. Just it just man, like these guys who worked in the 80s just do not live long lives. I mean, like you look at guys such as like Warrior and Piper and Savage. Um, the list goes on and on and on, and just more of these guys are are dying who were huge parts of our childhood. And it's kind of sad that we're just growing accustomed to this happening. But I do really appreciate though seeing him on the dark side of the ring when they were doing everything on Hawk there, which was a very yet sad but a very good documentary there. But Matt, do you have any fond memories
Yeah,
or
I
just your own?
obviously, well, not obviously.
Uh-huh.
I well, kind of obviously, really didn't see the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom in their prime. I mean, I started watching in '01, so I didn't see them, but I saw a lot of the stuff, uh, before that. But I really saw Animal in his last WWE run. I think when he was on SmackDown, and they had that whole thing with Heinrich in the
That
new
was awful.
Animals.
That was so bad.
I say, well, when that happened, I didn't know any better,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So I enjoyed for what like back then. I was, not like now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, pretty cool. I get to see some form of uh, Legion of Doom or whatever Road.
Huh.
So like to me, when I was like 05 ish.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was
Around.
in like seventh grade or whatever. So like pretty young, like 12, 13. And I know maybe that that kind of on that borderline between knowing and not knowing stuff. And so I like back then. I mean I enjoyed it. Who knows what I would have said now if it happened now. But yeah. So that was like my memories of him, basically. So I haven't really I've seen a lot per se, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back and just like seeing old WWF shows and just seeing just the huge reactions that these guys got is just something we just won't see ever again. It's as far as just getting the consistent reaction. I mean, it was every single segment, promo, match, uh, you name it, they got a huge ovation, and they were over from the very time that they were even put together. I mean, hell, like Cornette and others have talked about how as soon as Hawk and Animal were put together, they were instant stars. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. But obviously, rest in peace to Animal. Just hopefully his family can um can slowly just get through this, and obviously a very painful time for them there. So yeah, and then the last thing we're going to discuss, and this has been widely reported for the last few days here, Matt, is COVID outbreaks in both at the Performance Center and in AEW. Now we heard that Lance Archer he tested positive when he got home from the previous Dynamite tapings, and he's currently in quarantine. And although he has said that he's fine, but it's also believed as well that other people who were in contact with him are currently are quarantining back at home. I believe just just like just from this past week, guys like Cage. I think he was off. Nick Jackson, I didn't see him this week on Dynamite, so it's definitely safe to be cautious here, and I'm glad that they are doing that. As far as the Performance Center is concerned, that also seems to be a big issue as well, because I believe that they suspended any sort of like training or whatever there because of this. So it's just this thing just seems like it will just not go away, Matt. And
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I'm just ready for things just to get back to freaking normal here.
It seemed like there was a a decent stretch where nobody was really getting anything, at least that we know of.
Right.
But yeah, it sucks because you have Archer getting a title shot
Uh-huh.
scheduled to, so who knows if that's what's up in the air with that.
Yeah, and especially with how like Dynamite ended, it seems like they're going forward with Eddie Kingston in his place now, at least for the short term, because I believe he was supposed to fight for the title on the October 14th edition of Dynamite, which is only about, I think, two weeks away or so, or 3 weeks away. So probably smart that they at least have this going on, just because obviously with the uncertainty there, that just screwed everything up, and it really it caused a lot of juggling with the card from this previous week, and two for takeover as well, Matt, because supposedly they had like two or like three matches that had to be changed just because of the outbreak there. So it's just very unfortunate to say the least, but hopefully everyone is safe. Everyone is getting healthy, and from all signs, everyone seems to be okay that we know of, at least. So yeah, go away, COVID, you assholes. So, but yeah, anything else to add on that there, Matt?
Nope.
Think
I think you put a
summed it
bow
up.
on it with that last sentence.
All right. Well, I think that should do it. Unless you have anything else that you want to discuss.
No, I think that's it for this week.
All right. Okay.
So next week is gonna be. I'll just say this now. Everything is up in the air for me next week with schedule, because it is a busy week. That's why we didn't have a reaction show to the NXT and AEW, because doing some. I've been tasked.
Work shit.
Yeah.
Work shit. I said.
I said yeah. Because what I'm doing, obviously, I don't. Depending on where you guys are listening and watching, there's a whole thing with working at high school, like high school sports. Do you let people watch and all that fun stuff? And at least for initially we weren't allowing fans in to watch. We have soccer, we have football, we have volleyball, girls volleyball going on right now. There is fans now for soccer, but all the other stuff no as of now. But I am like live streaming all these sports with this good laptop right here and doing all this. So like almost it seems like every other day. But I have a break this weekend, thank God, because I think it's kind of killed me the last 2 days. It's fun, but it's time consuming. You get paid, but so that's the good thing at the end. You're making some extra money, which is always good. Next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I have stuff every day, and then we'll discuss what we're gonna do after this. But so again, keep an update on the Twitter and all that, and stuff. That's best I could tell you right now. But as we wrap this up, again, thanks everybody for watching. Again, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment, everything, do all the stuff, and we are appreciated. So for John, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you in the next video.